Good afternoon and welcome to Premier League Live, our first of two live commentaries this Saturday afternoon on LFS and four over this weekend, two today and two tomorrow. We start with a London derby in East London as West Ham United take on Chelsea in a rivalry of old. These two clubs known recent successes and recent histories, but it's new regimes, new managers and new starts at both West Ham and Chelsea under Julian Lopetegui and Enzo Maresca respectively. 4 games into the season, both have tasted defeat. West Ham yet to win at home this season, their third home game of the season this afternoon. A Chelsea side who are up and down, could beat Wolves 6-2 away from home, but struggled at home against Crystal Palace in another London derby. We'll see how they do in this one this afternoon. Kick off in a couple of minutes' time. We'll get team news as well in just a moment, but let's run you through what's coming up this weekend. 3 o'clock this afternoon. Aston Villa take on Wolves at Villa Park. Newcastle head to Fulham. Leicester take on Everton. Liverpool welcome Bournemouth to Anfield. Ipswich head to Southampton. And Tottenham welcome Brentford in another London derby. Crystal Palace then host Manchester United at 5:30 this afternoon. We'll have that one here on LFS. Plus 2 Sunday matches as Nottingham Forest head to the South Coast to face Brighton. And a big monster matchup at the Etihad Stadium. Last season's top two who fought for the Premier League title ended just a point a difference between the two. Will face off for the very first time this season. Manchester City take on Arsenal tomorrow at 4:30. As the players ready to come out of the tunnel here at the London Stadium, let's tell you what the teams are this afternoon. Starting with the home side, who have named a very impressive and very exciting side here, Julian Lopetegui. Alphonse Areola starts in goal. A back four of Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Konstantinos Mavropanos, Max Kilman and Emerson make up the back four. Guido Rodriguez and Edson Alvarez are the defensive midfield two, with Lucas Paqueta in the 10. Mohamed Kudus is the right winger. Left winger is Crescencio Somerville, making his first start for the club. And Jared Bowen leads the line and has the captain's armband for the Hammers. Fabianski, Cresswell, Todibo, Sofal, Soler, Soucek, Irving, Ings and Antonio all on the bench. For their London rivals Chelsea, Robert Sanchez starts in goal for the Blues today. Tosin Adarabioyo, Wesley Fofana, Levi Colwill and Marco Correa make up the defenders. Moises Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez in defensive midfield, with Fernandez the captain. Cole Palmer plays through the middle in the 10 role. Noni Madueke off the right. Jadon Sancho makes his first start as a Chelsea player off the left. And Nicholas Jackson, who scored 2 in one of these fixtures last season, he starts up front. On the bench for Chelsea, Jorgensen, Badiashile, Disasi, Vega, Dewsbury Hall, Mudryk, Neto, Felix and Nkunku, stacked with attacking quality. It's West Ham against Chelsea in a London derby to get your Premier League weekend underway. Kick-off at the London Stadium is next. Good afternoon and welcome to Premier League Live for first of our 4 Premier League commentaries this weekend on LFS. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on post notifications if you haven't done so already. It'd be greatly appreciated. And we thank each and every one of you for joining us this afternoon, this lunchtime on a Saturday. It's not usually that we're here at lunchtime on a Saturday, but we are this week. And we are looking forward to this London derby, of course. West Ham and Chelsea, two sides that have shared the points in recent years. West Ham beat Chelsea here last season 3-1, and in the reverse fixture at the Stamford Bridge late last season, Chelsea thrashed West Ham by 5-0. So you can never predict who is going to come out on top in this derby, and that's what makes it so exciting between these two clubs. Of course, the history and the real kind of anger between the clubs in a sense, between the sets of fans. There's certainly no love lost here in this one, but two managers experiencing this for the first time, as respective West Ham and Chelsea head coaches in Julian Lopetegui and Enzo Maresca, but they have history themselves, having played together as well, and certainly know each other very, very well. Our referee this afternoon is Sam Barrett, so hopefully we won't need to hear much from the referee or any of the officials this afternoon, other than the fact that they are there, because you don't want that. Our VAR, by the way, this afternoon is Ian Husson. Stuart Atwell and Ian Husson are our VARs. Sam Barrett, the referee. Right. West Ham, of course, in claret and blue of their home strip as we get underway, and Chelsea in their away strip this afternoon of a pale white, kind of pale yellowy white, like a beige colour, with blue socks. As forever blowing bubbles rings around this stadium, it creates such an atmosphere on match day. It's one that can be harvested and be made into a real tough atmosphere for any visiting side. And when this crowd does get behind their team, it can certainly be an unstoppable force at times. As Kudus giving away an early free kick to Cucurella. But I think this game takes extra importance for West Ham, considering they've played 2 home games already this season, haven't won either home game, albeit both losing, having scored in both of those, but losing by 2-1 and 3-1 to Aston Villa and Man City. Chelsea is your 3rd home game of the season. Certainly doesn't make it the easiest of starts, but a derby, there's always a chance, there's always an opportunity to get up in arms and get something. Of course. And the Chelsea side, as I mentioned, have been topsy-turvy this season, but away from home, they've played 2 away games and won both of them this season, so they'll be hoping to continue that pretty impressive start to the season. It's at home where they have struggled so far this season. Haven't won at home game either, have Chelsea, but that's not their concern today. As Tosin goes over to take this throw in on the right hand side. Back to Fofana. Now Sanchez will go long. Right to the left hand side. Brought down well by Sancho, of course. Jadon Sancho on loan from Manchester United at Chelsea, as plays it infield to Cucurella. Now Fernandes, back out wide to Sancho. Caicedo to Palmer. But as I was saying about Jadon Sancho, it could be kind of a trial for Jadon Sancho in a sense. You know, what does Jadon Sancho's future hold? Because really, since Erik ten Hag took over at Manchester United, it's kind of been nowhere really. In a sense, he struggled to get game time, struggled to get in the squad even at times, and there was an issue that the manager and the player had last season at some point, although both said that they put it behind them for this season. But clearly Jadon Sancho wants game time, and I don't think at this minute in time Man United are willing to give him that. But Chelsea clearly are, and they are giving, as that's stolen away in the midfield by West Ham. And here comes Kudus down the right hand side. Mohamed Kudus, and Sanchez, slippy fingers there as the ball came crawling out of his hands, and Chelsea tried to break away as Mavropanos commits the foul, so free kick to Chelsea. But again, it's that counter-attacking pace that we've seen most recently from West Ham in games against big sides, especially the Chelsea game here last season, although we'll hold that for a moment, because here comes Nicholas Jackson! Scored 2 against West Ham last season, and already has Chelsea ahead at the London Stadium. Just after West Ham had a great chance up the other end, Chelsea from the free kick play it down the left hand side, and Nicholas Jackson gets in behind and rolls it in between the legs of Alphonse Areola and into the far corner for 1-0. West Ham at 6s and 7s at the back, having a clue what's going on. Caught out by the quick free kick by Chelsea. To see it here, everybody's certainly not kind of feeling that Chelsea are going to take it quickly. They do. And then the great run by Jackson. It's really bad defensively from West Ham. Their line is not set up at all, and Jackson just has the freedom of that left hand side. No one anywhere near him. blasts his way into the box and rolls it right through Alphonse Areola's legs. I mean, it's far too easy. I have to be honest, the defence needs to be a lot quicker than that. Much more alert. Not the great start that West Ham would have wanted, but a perfect start for Chelsea. Because that is... it's really bad. Just to put it bluntly, really. To be caught out from such a quick free kick so early in the game, when you're wary of little things like that, and to allow the opposing striker to have so much space on the field, it is pretty criminal, really. But we've seen this before from West Ham, where they have that kind of game intelligence at times, or that knowledge to know that teams are going to try little different things against you. And Chelsea there, it just looked far too easy. I mean, it wasn't even the quickest of free kicks. There was 3 passes before Nicholas Jackson got in behind, so it wasn't that West Ham didn't have time to recover. They just didn't get there or anywhere near the ball. And as Caicedo defends that situation against Paqueta, up in the air, flicked on by Caicedo again, but brought back down by Somerville on the left-hand side for West Ham. Beaten off the ball was Emerson. And Chelsea battling back. They're under pressure there, but that's good defending there by Fofana. Goes out for a throw-in. And what will Julian Lopetegui be thinking on that sideline? Finding themselves so behind so early on in a game, and game where you want to start strong, you want to be that dominant side, you want to use your pace and threaten the opposition and not allow them to have the freedom. So far West Ham have really struggled in not only one-on-one battles, but just all over the pitch positionally. Here comes Jackson again, plays it infield to Sancho. Nice link up there. Sancho on the left hand side tried to squeeze it through into the box, but no one made the run in behind, and Areola will be able to pick that one up for West Ham. But again, it just looks like Chelsea have the edge on West Ham in every area at the minute. Tactically, positionally, even the sharpness, they just look quicker to the ball, much more intense in their play, and West Ham just look a bit slow at the minute. I think they've been caught massively and kind of shocked early on here as Bowen spins away, but great challenge ultimately. Well, the referee's actually given a free kick on Tosin here. That looked like a good challenge, but referee's given a free kick, which West Ham take quickly, but Bowen can be that difference maker in a game. Here's Kudus, right foot across into the box, and Somerville was lurking. It just evaded the head of the Dutchman. Great cross by Kudus, really threatening into the 18-yard box, curling towards the goal, but not close enough to nowhere near the keeper. It's just perfect for a late runner and just too high for Crysencio Somerville. Good opportunity from West Ham. Well, that's another thing West Ham can't really kind of get too worried about. Yes, they've conceded early on, but look at the quality they've got in this side. The likes of Kudus and obviously Somerville making his first start this afternoon, but the likes of Jared Bowen, who's done it repeatedly for West Ham, consistently kind of got them out of a hole or out of a problem or out of trouble. And then the likes of Paqueta as well. There's a lot of attacking quality in West Ham, and I think they wouldn't worry too much at this early stage. At 8.5 minutes gone, they do find themselves behind, but have a lot of quality to get them through this game. Well, here's Enzo Fernandez. Tries to roll it round the back of Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who battles against his former teammate in Jadon Sancho, and comes out the better on that occasion as Kudus does well in a one-on-one battle against Cucurella. Mavropanos tries to go long over the top. Bowen on the run. Sanchez just about got it to Tosin and cleared away now by Chelsea, but that's better from West Ham, winning their 50-50s and then putting the Chelsea defence and the keeper under early pressure. That's what Jared Bowen causes. He's got that aura about him, that constant threat that you know he's lurking, you know he's there. Here is Alvarez. To Mavropanos. Out wide to Wan-Bissaka. Tried to flick it around the corner for Mavropanos, but intercepted that time by Enzo Fernandez. Chelsea have the ball back in the middle by Caicedo, who almost got caught out by Paquetá there. Tosin, now Fofana. Back to Tosin. Colwell. Right up the middle. Finds the deep running Jackson. Now Fernandez back to Jackson. Sancho on the touchline. Has to come back in field to Colwell. You have to say, Marc Cucurella has taken up that kind of inverted fullback role for Chelsea at the minute. Very, very central, almost playing as a centre midfielder at the minute. Marc Cucurella, which adds that extra little bit of kind of ability and an extra body, simply, in the middle of the park. Because initially, we thought that West Ham were going to play a 4-2-3-1, but it seems to be more of a 3-4-3 in a sense, with Alvarez, that we thought would be a defensive midfielder, just dropping in alongside the two centre-backs of Kilman and Mavropanos, as Cucurella uses his great vision, plays the ball down the left-hand side. Here comes Jackson again, down this left-hand side, chops onto his right, squares it across, and Palmer hits it just wide. Again, a really good move by Chelsea again. All started by Marc Cucurella, just playing a ball down the left-hand flank. Again, lots and lots of space down that left-hand side, which is, again, something West Ham need to figure out. Because Jackson, again, runs into that space, creates the width for Chelsea, and allows players to run off the ball, and just arrives into the box, and Palmer just knocks it wide. Of course, applause around the London Stadium at the moment for Elliot Ely, the 11-year-old who has passed away. And a standing ovation and a massive applause for a life lost far too young, at just 11 years of age. Here's Kudus. Breaks past Cucurella. Kudus at the byline. Cuts it back. Too much for Somerville to stretch for, and Alvarez has the shot high over the bar. Goal kick. I have to say, the bright spark so far for West Ham has been Mohamed Kudus down that right-hand side, as he always is. I mean, I didn't commentate on the game that West Ham played here against Manchester City a few weeks ago, but one massive positive out of that game for West Ham was Mohamed Kudus. He was a massive threat, continually threatening the opposition, and albeit maybe West Ham didn't have their best spells in the game, but he was always that outlet. He was always the person getting them forward, trying to create something for the team. And when you're under pressure, and when you're a side that's maybe not going to dominate possession 100% of the time, or maybe just kind of been a bit more reserved against higher opposition, no disrespect to West Ham, but Mohamed Kudus can be that outlet, can be that source of kind of positivity and getting you up the field, keeping you on the front foot, keeping you with kind of that little bit of hope in a game where not everything has to go well. You've got that great player, and it keeps driving the team forward. In that sense, as Tosin breaks into a bit of space here, it's surrounded by West Ham bodies as he has to turn back, plays it back to Fofana. Now Caicedo. Colwell to Caicedo again. Back to Levi Colwell. Tries to play it through the lines. Nice work to link up with Palmer. Plays it straight out to Noni Madueke on the right-hand side. And this is Chelsea on the break again. Madueke tried to square it across to Fernandez, but well blocked out there by West Ham. As Somerville does really well linking up with Emerson. And now it's West Ham's turn to break. Emerson down the left. He's got Bowen and Kudus with him. Emerson strides infield. Tries to play it forward and is going to get the free kick here, as he was beaten to the ground by Wesley Fofana. The referee was going to let that play, but as soon as Emerson's ball went nowhere, pulled it back for a free kick in a very good area for West Ham. That was wonderful 1-2 touch football between Crescencio Somerville and Emerson down that left-hand side. Really nice football. And Emerson does really well. Takes on Fofana, drives in field with it. And it's... I mean, Fofana does make the... He does get the ball, but he does take the man in the same breath, to be honest. So I can see why the referee's given a free kick here. And I wouldn't do much complaining if I was of a West Ham persuasion, which I am not, of course. I think we've seen a bit more positivity about West Ham in the last few minutes, though, albeit minimal, but a bit more positive, considering how they started the game. As West Ham ready to take this free kick. Paquetá tries to go low, hits the wall. Rodriguez to Wan-Bissaka. Has to come backwards to Mavropanos. Chelsea sitting deep, have all 11 behind the ball at the minute. West Ham in the Chelsea half. Here's Paquetá. Back to Emerson now. Paquetá again. To Kilman. Now Mavropanos. Took a heavy touch, wants to stride forward as Mavropanos now. Out wide to Wan-Bissaka. Back to Rodriguez. West Ham looking to keep the possession, and goodness me, Edson Alvarez spun around by Enzo Fernandez, but did very well to hold on to the ball. Paquetá chips it over the top, looking for Bowen, but too much. Gets a thumbs up from Jared Bowen, but not tight enough. West Ham head coach certainly still not happy with what his side are doing. Julian Lopetegui. Not often you see a manager in jeans. Very rare that happens. No. Usually in designer gear, but jeans. Fascinating. So far, I would say West Ham have responded well to going behind, but there is still that outstanding problem down that left-hand side. It's a real issue for West Ham that I think they need to kind of figure out sooner rather than later, because it's just going to it's just going to continue to grow and grow and grow and become much more frustrating as the game goes on. With the space down the left is Colwill. That's blocked off by Kudus. Has to come back infield to Fernandez, who has to go back to his keeper. Now Caicedo, a bit of space. Plays it forward to Fernandez. Goes wide to Palmer. It's come deeper, Cole Palmer. We've seen him more involved in the midfield play so far. Cucurella. Caicedo. It's going to keep a bit of possession and control here at the moment, Chelsea's. Fernandez, lovely through ball. Here's Jackson in again. 2-0. Nicholas Jackson is on fire at the minute. And Chelsea double their lead at the London Stadium. West Ham probably had their best spell of the game just a minute or two ago. But it's Chelsea that are clinical in the final third. And Nicholas Jackson's already on a hat-trick in just 18 minutes. West Ham 0, Chelsea 2. Again, that's far too easy. The defence has been completely obliterated this afternoon from West Ham so far. And it's not been constant pressure, it's just been little moments. You just see it's really good football from Chelsea. They just say they wanted to keep control. It's wonderful touch by Fernandez. Plays it into Caicedo. And he just spots the space right up the middle. And Jackson just off his man just enough where he can be seen through. He spins Alvarez away from him. Too much for Kilman to cover. And it's a really nice finish by Jackson. Just rolls it with his right foot. Rolls it beautifully around Alphonse Areola, who could do very little about that, to be honest. Goodness me. And I'm baffled by this from a West Ham point of view onto what they're actually doing defensively. I said we thought they were going to play a 4-2-3-1, and I said that they've moved more into a back three in a sense, with Alvarez dropping in. But again, that goal all comes from poor covering through the middle from Edson Alvarez. West Ham looked across it, and goodness me, Bowen was there, but I think it was Paquetá that had the last touch on it. As Chelsea do get it cleared. As Somerville runs into trouble, and Emerson ultimately wins the corner. Looked like he might have given away a foul there, but the referee gave a corner to West Ham. Yeah, he doesn't actually get any touch on Fofana there. Fofana falls into him. No foul. Corner, and it is. Good decision by the referee. So West Ham 0, Chelsea 2. I have to say it's all about West Ham making sure this doesn't get any worse at the minute. I need to sort out a defensive issue. Otherwise they're going to be absolutely torn to pieces here before half time. Left-footed delivery into the box, and again headed away by Colwill for Chelsea. It's gone straight back from Rodriguez back to his keeper from that corner for West Ham, which is certainly not getting happy responses from the stands, shall we say. I mean, I saw a few kind of choice gestures whenever Chelsea scored the second goal. Here's Mavropanos. Alvarez. Paquetá. They're just a bit too slow, West Ham, at the minute. When they get the ball in midfield, Chelsea just have all the time in the world to cover any sort of gaps and spaces. Paquetá tried to go up the middle again with that chipped ball, but again far too close to the Chelsea keeper to cause any sort of threats. It just seems to be a bit laboured at the minute from West Ham. As I said, when they get the ball in the midfield, we're not really seeing that crisp, clean passing. It looks like they haven't played with each other ever, that midfield. Albeit, yes, under a new manager, under a new system and all that. Those are all probably excuses at this point. You know, West Ham haven't had any other competition other than the Premier League so far this season. In terms of recently, they've had one cup game, but 4 Premier League games, and lots of time midweek wise to do training to figure things out. But so far it looks like they never played with each other in that midfield, although this is good down the left hand side, which is good, been a good link up. As Bowen plays it through for Somerville, just a bit ahead of him, carried him wide. Somerville keeps it alive though. Backtracking Madueke is there for Chelsea. Somerville cuts it back. The cross from Kudus in there. And just bounced behind by Colwill for a corner. That's a bit more positive from West Ham. Again, probably their best plays come down the wide areas, especially down that left-hand side. Again, it was Somerville and Emerson. Really nice link up down the left, and Somerville got the ball back from Paquetá and just carried him wide. But it was good play by West Ham. They get this corner. Bowen will take right-hand side. Halfway through the first half. Bowen, left-footed delivery off the near post, and still alive, actually. Kept alive by Paquetá. Bowen to deliver again, and headed away at the front post that time by Tosin. Wan-Bissaka again to Bowen. Lots of bodies in there for West Ham. Plays it into Paquetá in the box. Cuts it back for Jared Bowen, who tried to open his left foot out to find the far corner, but opened it far too much, and it went well wide of the goal. Goal kick to Chelsea. I think Paquetá might have been offside anyway when Bowen played that ball in. Maybe just... I think Lopetegui is going to turn into anger from inside out. He's going to turn pure red. There's going to be steam coming out of his ears in the next few minutes, because he is barking at his players every single kind of time they get on the ball. As Chelsea come forward again here with Palmer. Now Madueke. Palmer again. Run into trouble. Well, battling back for it was Palmer, but Somerville there to carry it away for West Ham. Challenged well by Caicedo. Good tackle. Palmer. Chelsea look to keep the ball for now. We have games in the Championship as well. 3 half-12 kickoffs in the EFL Championship to tell you about. Norwich taking on Watford, QPR, Millwall and Sunderland, Middlesbrough. A couple of goals in those ones. Norwich and Watford currently drawing 1-1. In that one, Callum Doyle and Ryan Andrews, the scorers there. And Sunderland leading Middlesbrough by a goal to nil. Chris Rigg with the goal, but 0-0 between QPR and Millwall. As Paquetá tried to squeeze it through for Somerville, but again, that Chelsea defence looked strong there and cleared it away. As Kilman did well to step in, finds Rodriguez. Alvarez takes no risks, back to Mavropanos, now Rodriguez again. 25 minutes gone, West Ham 0, Chelsea 2. Again, it's been a period where West Ham have probably had the better of the possession in terms of territory, but we saw that just before Chelsea scored their second. Paquetá again, trying different things, but no connection there on that occasion, and Paquetá's ball just rolls out for a goal kick. Getting a bit forceful in the final third, West Ham. They're being a bit impatient, rushing those passes, rushing those moments. There's a combination of when they get it into midfield, they're being slow, but when they're getting into the final third, they're being too rushed. So there's complete disconnection between the team. They're not playing at the same tempo, they're not playing at the same pace, they're not communicating with each other well enough to know where each other is going to be, because they're getting into good areas in moments. You know, Paquetá's picking up really good areas that can be threatening, but he's not connecting and communicating with his teammates enough to say, make a run here or go here, or kind of show for the ball. They're looking a bit disconnected up front, West Ham, at the minute, and it's not players that haven't played before with each other, because it's Bowen, it's Kudus, it's Paquetá. Somerville's probably been the brightest of the attackers so far, to be honest, and it's his first start for the club. That's a lovely switch ball out to Kudus. Kudus steps into the box and onto his left foot, but the strike that he has deflected up into the hands of Robert Sanchez. Charged down really well. Lovely switch ball by Emerson out to Kudus on the right. Takes a touch infield in the box, and Cucurella does well to block it off and charge it down, and ultimately deflects into his keeper's hands. But another positive moment there for West Ham, where they have the ability and the quality in the game, just not showing it just yet. As Chelsea try the switch ball, just too far over the head of Noni Madueke there. Throw into West Ham. Kudus breaks away again for West Ham. Challenged really well there by Caicedo. Tracked him all the way back and won the ball back quite emphatically that time, Caicedo. Trying to play it through for Jackson, but West Ham had it covered that time with Mavropanos. Right, Rodriguez, Paquetá. Back to Rodriguez. Chips it out to Somerville on the left flank. Somerville takes it down nicely. Chops infield, looking to link up with Paquetá, is brought down. The referee says no, but he looked like he was pulled well back there by... There was Crysencio Somerville. The West Ham head coach and their coaches are incensed on the sideline. And the fourth official's getting an earful, but probably rightfully so. Somerville looked like he was dragged completely there back, and VAR is still looking at it while we play on. As Sancho gets his pocket picked there, and again there's going to be a free kick given here for West Ham. And now the referee might have a chance to hear from VAR, because they are going to just delay this for a moment. I think this might be a penalty, because, I mean, Kudus gets challenged there by Fernandez, which gets the free kick. But if they show the replay of the Somerville chance, he chops in field, gets past Fofana, and he just drags him back. And I think it's lazy defending really from Wesley Fofana, to be honest, because he knows he's beaten, and instead of trying to trust his teammates, he tries to pull Crysencio Somerville back, And not discreetly at all. I mean, he grabs his left arm and pulls it back. I mean, if that's not a foul, I don't know what is. That should be a penalty for me, as the referee is hearing from VAR Stuart Atwell that they're checking. And I think they've said no. I'm baffled by this. I don't think they've given it. They've given no penalty. That's the decision. The on-field decision stands. I think that's shocking. Shocking. I mean, we can pull players down now in the box and get away with it? I mean, really? I don't understand. I think the referee was there and he saw what he saw and didn't give the penalty. But you can't argue that that's not a foul in the box. As West Ham take the free kick, Emerson's cross is headed behind by Enzo Fernandez for a corner. I don't want to go on harp on about VAR again, but look, to me, if the referee doesn't give it, the referee doesn't give it. Fair enough, but I think it's a penalty. And the more you see it, the more you can really say a penalty could be very easily given there, but they didn't. As Bowen takes this corner, headed away by Madueke, back in by Wan-Bissaka. Kukurea got there. Bit of head tennis at the minute between the two sets of players as Alvarez flicks it. Up in the air, it goes by Tosin. Now Paquetá tries to bring it down for West Ham, battling off two Chelsea players. Finds Kudus, now wide to Wan-Bissaka. Cuts it back for Paquetá, who has his shot charged down. But it's good pressure from West Ham. Kudus wins it back. Now Wan-Bissaka across again. Tosin to clear. And Kukurea heading it. Only clear as far as Alvarez. Now Kudus again. West Ham find it through Somerville now. Paquetá finds it to Kudus, and it's in. But the flag is up against Mohamed Kudus. I had the feeling that he was offside, and soon after the ball went into the back of the net, the flag went up. We'll see if he was. It looked like he was. It looked far too easy that he was onside. Yeah, he was. He was offside. Easily offside there. No question. Nice finish. Nice play, but it was good pressure from West Ham again there in that situation. A moment where you could really feel that West Ham were kind of suffocating Chelsea in and around their own box. It's good pressure. Well, there's no question about the offside on that occasion, but again, the VAR comment, the VAR, I mean, I would love to know what the explanation is, because if it's just they didn't feel the referee made a clear and obvious error and didn't have a good view of it, and it's just his opinion, then fair enough. But I question whether you tell the referee, look, do you want to have another look at it, because we feel there may be, foul, kind of a pull that you may not have seen. I don't know. At the end of the day, West Ham probably could feel aggrieved they didn't get a penalty, but it certainly ignited something in the West Ham attack all of a sudden. It certainly got them pushing to get a goal back in this game. Here's Sanchez. Tosin plays it in the midfield. Nice work from Caicedo on the spin. Enzo Fernandez does well. Plays it out to Sancho on the left-hand side. Sancho arriving into the box. Jadon Sancho flicks it around the corner for Madueke. Back to Sancho. Trying to roll his way through the box. Back to Jackson. He has his shot deflect off two West Ham players and easily scooped up by Alphonse Areola, the West Ham keeper. Just over 10 minutes to go of the first half. Wan-Bissaka lays it down the line for Kudus as Cucurella jumped to try and clear the ball. Felt he was fouled there, but the assistant said no, and the referee agreed. So throw into West Ham. Alvarez, Paquetá, Bowen trying to spin back, but ultimately giving away the ball. And now Caicedo can try and get Chelsea forward. And here comes Jackson down the left flank again. Once again, West Ham trying to defend this, and that's a good challenge on Jackson as Rodriguez picks it away. And now Paquetá can try and get West Ham forward. Finds Somerville on the left. Somerville up against Fofana again. And drives infield. Fofana follows him all the way. West Ham keep the ball with Alvarez now. To Wan-Bissaka. I think West Ham are line up a substitution as Wan-Bissaka tried to play it round the corner for Somerville. Nice play, just a bit ahead of the debutant. And it goes into the hands of Sanchez. And West Ham are going to make a change here. Thomas Souček is coming off the bench. Very rare that you see a first half substitution. But clearly, Julian Lopetegui, we've seen him barking at his players for almost the whole of the 35 minutes we've played so far. And you can't blame him for making that change. He's clearly unhappy with something. So we'll see who's coming off for West Ham here in a moment. Sanchez, Cucurella, Tosun, back to Sanchez. West Ham are getting much more pressure on the ball these last few minutes. As Emerson tries to nip in, Somerville tried to as well, but West Ham couldn't retrieve the possession. And down the right it comes with Madueke. Bodies arriving for Chelsea. Madueke wants to go himself, and the shot fizzed across the 6-yard box and wide for a goal kick. So substitution coming here for West Ham then. Number 24, Guido Rodriguez, is going to make way for Thomas Souček. So straight swap in midfield for West Ham. Certainly not been the best performance from the West Ham midfield so far. Probably could have been any of them, but it's Guido Rodriguez that gets the hooking after just 36 minutes. And Souček coming on. Let's see what Thomas Souček can add. He's got that real physical battle man sense in the midfield, something that West Ham are missing in that area. But also got that real creativity to him in Thomas Souček. We can deliver a pass really crisply up the middle and certainly threaten the opponent. Here's Alvarez. Mavropanos back with Alvarez, now back to Areola. West Ham under pressure at the back there from Madueke, but Kilman did well to step in. Bowen plays off the centre and ultimately ends up on the floor as he tracked back into midfield and fouled in there. As Bowen in a bit of pain here at the minute. It's Colwell that tracked him all the way and committed the foul. And Bowen just slowly getting back to his feet after that challenge. Yeah, kind of clipped there on the right foot. It's a painful one on Bowen, but he's back to his feet. Will be okay to continue, so no real huge issues there for Jared Bowen in that sense. Right up the middle there from West Ham, but a misplaced pass. Given straight back to Chelsea. Sanchez now knocks long. Bouncing along with Max Kilman. And Emerson back to Kilman. Well, don't forget, of course, lots more to come on LFS this weekend. 3 more Premier League commentaries to bring you. One later on this afternoon in the evening game at Sellers Park. We stay in London. Sellers Park is the venue for Crystal Palace against Manchester United at 5:30 kickoff. Crystal Palace destroyed Manchester United 4-0 at Sellers Park last season. Can they repeat that, or will Man United continue their decent start to the season, shall we say, and a decent last week, considering they scored 10 goals without reply in their last 2 games in all competitions? Let's see how their defence stands up against Palace. That is at 5:30. Cucurella to take this through in down the lefts. Looking up 1-2 with Sancho. He dropped back. Fernandez hoofs it up the field, but straight back into West Ham possession. Here's Souček to Mavropanos, and now that was Kilman. Played it out wide to Wan-Bissaka. Has to come backwards, Wan-Bissaka though. Plays it to Alvarez. Now Paquetá. Back to Alvarez. Looking for options. Just plays it across. It's a nice ball by Alvarez through the lines. Here finds Kudus. Kudus across. The cut back for Souček, who has a shot straight at Robert Sanchez. Better move from West Ham. Again, nice fainted ball in behind for Kudus. Kudus broke into the box, tried to cut it back to Jared Bowen, and it bounced and deflected off a Chelsea defender and back for Souček, who had the shot first time. But not much pace behind it really, and it just straight down the throat of Robert Sanchez. Here's Palmer. I'm going to switch it out to the left. Finds Sancho. Used to play on opposing sides before in Manchester. Cole Palmer, formerly of Man City. Jadon Sancho, formerly of Manchester United. There's quite an amalgamation of players here at Chelsea, of course. Former opponents and battlers and players that know each other very well. Not from direct kind of links, but from a distance. In that sense. And it's interesting to see, you know, what will we see from Chelsea this season? You know, we expect to see a bit of inconsistency at times, that kind of as they try and build under the new manager and create a system and create a rhythm and a style of play. But with the amount of players kind of in the Chelsea squad, the amount of quality, is there going to be that consistent starting 11 in a Chelsea side that kind of competes, continues to be competitive and continues to create a continuing momentum for Chelsea in a sense? Because if you're swapping players, 3 or 4 or 5 players out of your team week in, week out, then it can be a bit disjointed and your side can struggle, and no wonder there would be inconsistencies. I think early in the season, I think the manager is just trying to figure out his best team, as Robert Sanchez came for that one, and Kudus couldn't make the most of the opportunity whenever Sanchez missed it. But goodness me, certainly a moment that Chelsea won't want replayed, and the Chelsea keeper certainly wouldn't. Just a ball over the top from West Ham, and Kudus was well onside. He was the threat, and the bouncing ball, Robert Sanchez measured it completely wrong, got it all wrong in terms of the flight of the ball, and Kudus just got to the byline, tried to cut it across, but kind of hoofed it more of a sense. Just really didn't get the deftest of touches on it, and it went flying away from the threatening area. But again, better play from West Ham, asking Chelsea questions late in the half. Around about a minute and a half to go with the first half here. We'll see how long will be added on. That VAR check as well, delaying things by a minute or two. So, see how long will be added on at the end of this first half in a moment or two. Cucurella to Colwell. Spins it out wide to the right-hand side. Brought down beautifully by Madueke. Takes the touch in front of him. Madueke with a cross. Too far ahead of Alphonse Areola, but picked up by Enzo Fernandez. A nice Jadon Sancho. Wasn't given the space. Well closed down by West Ham. That's nice footwork from Pakita, now Alvarez spins it out to Somerville. Looks to take on Fofana. Somerville now. Drives in field, Fofana. Beats him for base again. Somerville, lovely footwork, and again challenged that time by Caicedo. And gets West Ham a free kick. Certainly showing his great qualities so far, Crysencio Somerville. Those qualities we saw at Leeds last season, where he was taking on defenders, not afraid to go one-on-one and create that one-on-one battle, and absolutely leaves Wesley Fofana for dead. And then Moises Caicedo has a go at him and ends up committing the foul, but it's Fofana that gets a yellow card. It's a couple of times he's been battling with Crysencio Somerville. Ultimately committed the foul in the build-up, said the referee, but is given the benefit of the doubt, and another free kick comes West Ham's way. And a yellow card for the Chelsea defender. 2 added minutes at the end of the half. As the free kick delivered in, flicked on, but flicked behind by Mavropanos. It's the only booking so far of the first half. Wesley Fofana's yellow card. I think the West Ham fans are ready to kind of hydrate themselves and get in and try and beat the queues for the half-time food and drink. But so far, I'd say, albeit West Ham are 2-0 down, but I wouldn't say they've been absolutely cast adrift in this first half. Far from it, to be honest. Because I think as the halves went on, West Ham have grew more comfortable with their play. And here comes Kudus again. Flicks it on for Wan-Bissaka on the overlap, but run into Moises Caicedo that time did Wan-Bissaka. As Caicedo clears it away for Chelsea, but West Ham again winning back the ball, and ultimately the foul given by Fernandes sees West Ham get another free kick. But I think the last 15 minutes, I would say West Ham have probably been the better team. Since Chelsea have gone 2-0 up, and you could probably say Chelsea are 2-0 up, they don't really need to push for anything at this minute in time. They can kind of take it at their own pace. But West Ham have looked much more comfortable in the final third in the last 10-15 minutes. Much more threatening. As Emerson to deliver this free kick. The flick on to Kilman at the back post, who just couldn't keep it in play. Rolled past him. Although I think there was a last touch of a Chelsea player, so a corner's coming for West Ham. Took maybe a slight nick in there somewhere from a player in Chelsea colours. West Ham have a set piece that will probably be the last action of the half as Bowen delivers in. Alvarez headed it down, but hooked away by Chelsea. Somerville delivers it back in. Bouncing ball in the box as Mavropanos tries to keep it alive, but nothing to show there as the flag went up. And that is the half-time whistle. A first half where West Ham made simple errors, really glaring mistakes that they didn't fix from the 3rd minute of the game when they went 1-0 down. Nicholas Jackson, in back-to-back games against West Ham, now has 2 goals, and he has the chance in the second half to maybe better it and get a hat-trick. If he can, he would be the second Chelsea player to score a hat-trick this season if he does so. But at half-time, West Ham certainly well behind Chelsea, but still battling in the game. Half-time, West Ham 0, Chelsea 2. Analysis on the way next. Welcome back to Premier League Live. Half-time at the London Stadium in the London derby between West Ham and Chelsea. It is West Ham 0, Chelsea 2 at the break. Nicholas Jackson with both goals in that first half for Chelsea inside 18 minutes. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on post notifications if you haven't done so already. That would be greatly appreciated. What to say at half-time? To be honest, I think Chelsea have been very clinical in their moments. They've been, I have to say, threatening in the final third at times. I think Nicholas Jackson's been fabulous today so far. I mean, the runs he's making, the threat that he's causing, of course, the goals that he's got, of course, it makes it obviously much more glaring that he is playing very well. But you just see the little tactical things. You can see what the player is, how far he's come. From the start of last season being criticised as nowhere near the level and not a Premier League striker and just missing chances galore, he's found that kind of calmness and composure in the final third now, where he was flashing at shots beforehand. He's kind of calmed down, being much more composed in front of goal, and you can see that in the way that he finishes. He's putting a bit of finesse on the ball now. The first one, he just rolls it in between the keeper's legs. If you're not a confident and composed striker, you wouldn't do that. You'd try and square it across, or you'd try and squeeze it in the near post round the keeper, rather than going through the keeper and trusting in your ability. Then the second one again, it's poor from West Ham. I have to be honest, from both goals, and I'll get to West Ham's defending at the moment, but firstly from Chelsea, it's really good play from Nicholas Jackson. The second one, ball up the middle, Jackson makes the run in behind, one-on-one with the keeper, and he just kind of hits it with the top of his right boot and curls it round the left-hand side of the goalkeeper. It's a really, really, really beautiful finish. That's what I mean by a little bit of finesse. That's not a strike or a shot of a striker that's not in a confident form and composed in the final third and is kind of learning his craft in a way. You can see the differences from this season to way last season with Nicholas Jackson. At the start of the campaign, and that was expected to come. Give him time to learn, to kind of grow and to become a much more kind of well-rounded striker. And I think we're seeing the benefits of that now, and the qualities that Nicholas Jackson has on show. But from a West Ham point of view, both goals very, very dreadful defending. I mean, the first goal. I mean, Nicholas Jackson. They take a free kick quickly, and I put quickly in inverted commas because they played about 2 or 3 passes, Chelsea, before they played Nicholas Jackson in. And not a single West Ham player decided to go, there's the Chelsea striker on the left-hand side, completely unmarked, open for a pass, and has a clean run down the left-hand side. No West Ham defender thought to cover that space, to close that space down. And it happened a couple of times in the first half, where Chelsea played the ball out to the left flank, and it was a gaping hole in the West Ham defence. Not only that, I'll get to the second goal in a minute, but they play a couple of passes, the ball's played down the flank. Nicholas Jackson's got the whole of the freedom of that left-hand flank to break through, charges well past his defender. There was no chance for the defenders getting back for West Ham. They were kind of 2 or 3 steps behind kind of the Chelsea attack, and Nicholas Jackson one-on-one with the goalkeeper from a narrow angle, as I said, really calm, composed finish, rolls it in between the keeper's legs for 1-0. Then the second goal, again, gaping holes in the West Ham defence. I think that's why Julian Lopetegui made a change. I think he swapped the back 3 in a sense. He's kept the back 3, but not in the same as what they were in that sense. He has swapped kind of Alvarez more wide. Alvarez was central to that goal in the second goal that they conceded, West Ham. He was right in the middle, playing right in the middle of the defence. And he's not a natural centre-back. He's not naturally meant to be in that position. He's a defensive midfielder that's dropped into a back 3 with his teammates. But from that position, he doesn't cover the space. He gets beaten by Nicholas Jackson far too easily, seen well wide, and the gaping hole in the defence is for all to see. Right up the middle go Chelsea. Jackson one-on-one with the keeper. Really good finish. But once they changed it, it looked like West Ham got a bit more control because Mavropanos kind of switched more centrally. And you could see that, I think, from a West Ham point of view, because there was kind of less space, I think, for Chelsea to try and exploit whenever they swapped the back three and kind of made it a bit more solid. You know, a Mavropanos who is known and used to being in that central area, plays that area and covers those spaces. But they look more controlled. Then they made that midfield change, where I think helped West Ham, because they were lacking something in midfield. They were lacking that real kind of zip, that pass, that kind of crispness, that sharpness you usually see from a West Ham midfield, where they move the ball quickly and know exactly where each other is. I think Souček kind of changed that in the last kind of 8 minutes of that half, because I think West Ham ended the half the better of the two teams. I don't think Chelsea really showed massive amounts of great quality overall in the game, but I think they've just been very clinical. Their strikers got into two very, very good positions, one-on-one with the goalkeeper, criminal defending from West Ham, and he's taken both chances. That's sometimes what you have to do in Premier League football, because you never know when the next chance is going to come. You never know kind of what the opposition's going to pose at you. You take your chances, you're going to have a very good opportunity at winning a game. But ultimately, think how if Nicholas Jackson didn't take those chances, we would probably be sitting here saying Chelsea have been really poor, West Ham have probably been the better side, West Ham have a very good chance at winning this. So it completely changes the dynamic of the game. Those two goals, obviously it does. But you look at the way the game has been played compared to the scoreline, albeit the scoreline is the most important thing in football, but the way West Ham have played, they've had equal amounts of possession. They haven't really created a big chance yet, which is a disappointment from West Ham's point of view. They've had more shots than Chelsea, 3 more. They've had 8 to Chelsea's 5. More corner. Chelsea haven't had a corner yet, which is interesting. More shots on target than Chelsea. Less passes, just slightly, but winning more free kicks, West Ham, so they're winning that side of the game as well. They're winning those battles, they're winning those 50-50s now, a lot more. West Ham have won 58% of the ground duels and around 45 to 50% of the aerial duels. So overall, West Ham are winning that the battle of the duels and those 50-50s in the middle, which is good to see from a West Ham point of view, because they're still battling in the game. They're still offering something. It's just going to be a tough task to come from 2-0 down. It's not impossible. Many's a team have done it this season already. We've seen a couple of teams come from 2-0 down. But one thing I want to make, Somerville's been a very, very bright player so far for West Ham, and I want to give him a lot of praise. Kudos as well on the far side. But Somerville, his first start against a really good Chelsea, or a good Chelsea side, albeit, against a strong defender in Wesley Fofana, who's experienced at this level, had his injury issues, maybe struggling a bit more on that right-hand side with the lack of right full-back, kind of right-back options for Chelsea at this minute in time, but kind of really struggling against Somerville, and Somerville's made him look really, really below par. And I think that's credit to Crysencio Somerville, because he's come out and shown his quality and not looked like he's under pressure or under real kind of stress out there. He looks to be playing with freedom and in a comfortable nature, and just kind of really calm on the ball, and that's what you want. But also that blistering quality is really good to see. So I want to give a bit of credit to Crysencio Somerville in that first half. In terms of the VAR check, there has been a bit of explanation from the Premier League Match Centre, which explains all VAR calls now. It states the referee's call of no penalty for the challenge by Fofana on Somerville is checked and confirmed by VAR, deeming that this was not sustained holding. So VAR deemed that it was not sustained holding, therefore the referee was not incorrect in his decision to not give a penalty, therefore not feeling they should overturn it or call the referee to the monitor. So basically, VAR felt that there wasn't a big mistake by the referee. The referee probably had a clear view of it, and I haven't seen it back further, but it looked like the referee was in a good position. I thought it was a penalty. I felt it was a penalty. The referee didn't. It's the referee's call, and the referee and it stands. But could that be the difference? If West Ham had got that penalty, got back to 2-1, could the game be very different? We will see. But at half-time, it is West Ham 0, Chelsea 2. The second half at the London Stadium is on the way in just a minute. Do stay with us. Welcome back to Premier League Live. Half-time at the London Stadium is West Ham 0, Chelsea 2. 3 o'clock kickoffs to come in the Premier League this afternoon. We're looking forward to those, and we'll give you all the results of all of those games. And our 5:30 game this evening, which is rare for us on a Saturday to have two games on a Saturday. But we do. Crystal Palace taking on Manchester United in South East London at Sellers Park later this afternoon. 4-0 between the two sides in this fixture last season. Can Man United get revenge, or will Crystal Palace continue that incredible form? We will see. They've certainly not started the season well, Crystal Palace, without a win this season. And what a way to start and get your first win against Manchester United a bit later on. We will see. And then, of course, tomorrow, Brighton's Nottingham Forest at 2 before the big one tomorrow afternoon. Manchester City taking on Arsenal at the Etihad. 4:30 for that one tomorrow afternoon. Looking forward to that one as well. So, 4 Premier League commentaries this weekend. We're halfway through our first one, where it is Chelsea leading West Ham by 2-0. We're going to get the second half underway in just a moment, but they are just showing the replay on the feed here about the situation. And for me, it looks like Wesley Fofana's pulling Crescencio Somerville back. I think he pulls him back. I think it's a foul. It doesn't matter what I think, really, because I'm not the referee or the VAR. But ultimately, I think it was the wrong decision, but VAR clearly felt the referee didn't make a mistake, and I don't think he did make a massive mistake. I don't think he missed something. He clearly saw what happened and just didn't feel that it was a penalty, didn't feel it was enough for a penalty, and fair enough. It's the referee's call, the referee's decision, and that is what could have Chelsea with a bit of a let-out at this moment in time. Kind of a get-out-of-jail-free card, basically, because that could have them 2-1 up and under a lot of pressure. You never know what have happened at the end of that half if West Ham had got that penalty and scored it. Nonetheless, we start the second half afresh, and West Ham come out 2-0 down, and with a lot to prove if they want to get back into this game, both defensively and offensively in attack as well. That's lovely from Kudus again. That's really nice play. Paquetá plays it down the right. And here's Wan-Bissaka trying to find Kudus, blocked off by Cucurella. I think it's about West Ham starting this half fast, really quick, pacey, getting Chelsea on the back foot early on. Something they really failed to do at the start of the first half. Chelsea came out the better. Chelsea controlled the game early on, and West Ham kind of obviously got caught out in that defensively. Ended up conceding as try the ball over the top again. Still alive though. Souček keeps it alive. Here's Kudus. Trying to drive into the box there, but closed off. As now West Ham try and go in for a few challenges, and Jackson wins the ball. And Jackson's breaking through. He's got Palmer with him. Cole Palmer for Chelsea. 3-0. Exactly the same start to both halves from a Chelsea point of view. And they get their third goal inside 80 seconds of the second half starting. And that is exactly the opposite start that West Ham would have wanted. And that's all Chelsea have been this afternoon. Incredibly clinical when they get their chance. And on the break, they have been devastating. And West Ham, again, far too easy, far too simple, far too naive. And it all comes crashing down inside 75 seconds of the second half. It started further up the field, but they committed again too many bodies into positions, and they ultimately get caught out. Jackson steps in field, plays it across to Palmer. It's beautiful link up between the two of them. Know exactly what each other's going to do. And Palmer, wonderful finish. Have to be honest, off the inside of the left post, and pings into the net. Fabulous goal. And Enzo Maresca is loving it here. It looks like Chelsea are going to continue their incredible away form. And West Ham's woeful home form is going to continue. No West Ham team has ever, in any league season, ever in the club's history, lost 3 home games at the start of a season. Their first 3 home games to start a season. It looks like Julian Lopetegui and this West Ham team are going to be the first ever to do that for the Hammers. As that's a late challenge by Edson Alvarez. Souček has got a yellow card here for a foul in the build-up to that goal. So the referee is pulled back for a foul a bit earlier before the Cole Palmer goal was scored. So Souček gets a yellow card, and Edson Alvarez has also just got a yellow card for his challenge on Cole Palmer. So certainly a devastating start to the second half for West Ham, finding themselves now 3-0 down, and with a few yellow cards to go with it. It's really been dreadful. And I have to be honest, from a West Ham team that I said at half-time were competitive, probably the better side in that first half in terms of the overall play, but haven't been able to create anything of real great note in that sense. All the way throughout this afternoon. In the final third they've struggled. And I think that's, to be honest, disappointing. Because of the amount of quality that West Ham have. You know, to not deliver on that, to not kind of show what you can offer, is really kind of lackluster, disappointing, really below par. It's nowhere near the level. And I think from a West Ham point of view, from a season that they thought, new, fresh manager, a more attacking manager, a manager that gives us a bit of that European kind of feel, at the minute, there wasn't much of a honeymoon period for West Ham, but if there was to be, it certainly was completely dissipated by now. West Ham side that are looking down the barrel of 3 defeats in their first 5 games. Albeit there are only 2 results, positive results this season in terms of league form, as that 2-0 win away at Crystal Palace and the 1-0 win against Bournemouth in the Carabao Cup, and then the 1-1 draw with Fulham. At home, they have been really below the level, and albeit, yes, I will come back to the point that I made earlier in the game at the start, that they've played tough opponents to start the season at home, you know, Aston Villa, Manchester City and Chelsea. But at home, if you want to be a side that wants to compete, wants to push for European places, you need to get something from some of those games. As here's Jared Bowen. Sanchez did well. It was good pressure from West Ham on that occasion there, but again, not ending up in the net. But that'll give them confidence, albeit the game's not done and dusted. There's a long way to go. Emerson, as Bowen tried to leave it. Ultimately, Chelsea didn't leave it, and they clear it away. And here comes Madueke for Chelsea. Tries to dart in Jackson, but just a bit ahead of Jackson that time, and Mavropanos was in cover and gets it back to his keeper. But as I was saying, West Ham would be regarded as, well, obviously no one else has played 3 games at home this season so far, but as they would go down as the worst home side to start the season here at the minute. And, you know, it's not been good enough. 8 goals conceded, only 2 goals scored at home. You know, from a West Ham point of view, it's really, really bad. Away from home, not awful. But from a Chelsea point of view, away from home, 10 goals scored, 2 conceded, looking down the barrel of 3 wins out of 3. You know, there's a massive difference there. Chelsea perform well away from home. West Ham don't perform well at home at all. And they're now going to make a double substitution. But again, it's been down to Chelsea's clinical finishing. They're incredibly clinical this afternoon. The finishes, the goals have been really, really good. Really top quality. but at the same time, far too easy to find. Those passes, those touches, those attacking moments, those counter-attacks have been far too easy to be kind of created from a West Ham point of view. As here comes Paquetá rolling into the box. Lucas Paquetá tried to squeeze his way through, but run into bodies in the end as he arrived in the box. And now Edson Alvarez, as he tried to win the ball back off Palmer, commits the foul, and a free kick goes Chelsea's way. As West Ham going to make another double substitution then. Their first double substitution, of course. So it is going to be Mikel Antonio and Carlos Soler that are coming on. And coming off for Edson Alvarez. And Crysencio Somerville. So, crazy that. Somerville and Alvarez off. And Antonio and Soler on. I'm baffled why Somerville is coming off. He is one of their biggest threats in the final third. Surprised by that. And the crowd certainly didn't react well to it. And Sanchez goes long for Chelsea. West Ham again win the first and second balls, and under pressure there was Areola. Goodness me. As Kilman does clear his lines, but Areola tried to head it across to Kilman, got nowhere near enough power on it, almost got himself caught in possession there. As here comes Bowen down the right hand side, plays it forward for Soler. Carlos Soler with a cross, and headed away by Tosin. Bowen trying to keep it alive in the edge of the box. Caicedo battling. Cucurella winning the header to clear it. Paquetá spins back. Souček. Now Paquetá couldn't squeeze it through, and ultimately hoofed away by Chelsea, but too far ahead of Jackson. It was better from West Ham there for a moment. Bowen coming wide, which, see if that really helps West Ham create. Albeit it's not been from the wide areas it's been a problem. It's centrally where they've struggled this afternoon in getting it forward in those moments. The wide players in Somerville and Kudus have been really positive. Mavropanos switches it out to the left. Tried to find Kudus, but Fofana did well there. And now Madueke sped past Emerson down the right. The cross from Madueke is well charged down by Max Kilman there, as now Paquetá drops back. Finds Kudus. Bit of space here for Mohamed Kudus to break forward. Tries to chip it over the top to find Antonio, but Sanchez headed it clear. Cucurella delivers back to his defenders, but again, a bit more intensity about West Ham all of a sudden. As again, they've just given away a cheap free kick. Cole Palmer again winning that foul. As Chelsea are going to make substitutions now. So Pedro Neto and Axel Disasi are going to be coming on for Chelsea. And Jadon Sancho and Wesley Fofana are going to be coming off. So Jadon Sancho on his debut, or his first start, sorry, for the club, is going to make way. Chelsea fans, the loudest inside this stadium. As you can expect, 3-0 up with around about 35 minutes to go. There's a long way to go yet. They are in cruise control at the minute, Chelsea. Nicholas Jackson with his brace, firing Chelsea 2-0 up, and then Cole Palmer with a lovely finish, added a third. I wouldn't put it past them scoring another, maybe even more, as this game goes on for Chelsea. Tosin tried to squeeze it through in behind for Jackson. Closed off that time by the West Ham defence. Here's Kilman. Under pressure, goes back to Areola. Palmer applying the press, but Areola plays it out to his right back. Nice touch by Bowen, who tracks back into midfield. Finding Wan-Bissaka, who's driven infield this time now. Kilman. Through the lines. Kudus on the spin. Plays it out to Emerson. On the left. Emerson, bit of space opens up for Emerson as he drives infield. Flicks it forward for Soler. Soler run out of room, but Antonio keeps it alive. Nice check, spins wide, finds Jared Bowen now. He's got Wan-Bissaka wide, takes that option, finds Wan-Bissaka on the overlap. Chops back, lifts it with his left to the back post. Kudus keeps it alive as he spins it back in, but too far ahead of Antonio. Paquetá now. Soler. Tried to get near it, but well intercepted by Mavropanos, who shot. Now Soler will shoot, but straight at Robert Sanchez. Much better from West Ham. Although Jackson almost got in behind again. Just had that one covered. It's always an out ball for Chelsea, that Jackson run. In behind us, Caicedo commits a far long Soler, which gets West Ham the free kick. But there's always that option of Chelsea going in behind through Nicholas Jackson, as Kudus tried the same for West Ham, but that one far too overhit. But I have to say, the game's continued in the way that it was in the first half. You know, I think Chelsea have been kind of second best in possession in terms of kind of West Ham moving the ball better and playing better football in terms of the possession football. But ultimately, when Chelsea get the ball, they're not looking to pass it around or play quick or kind of possession-based football. They're just trying to get the ball in behind. They're trying to threaten the West Ham defence. Every time Chelsea get the ball, they're darting it in behind. They're threatening the West Ham defence instantly, being very direct. As Wan-Bissaka chops back on his man, lifts the left foot across in, and Disasi has to head behind for a corner. Again, better play from West Ham, but Chelsea have scored all three of their goals by being direct, on the break, on the counter, in transition, which West Ham have struggled with. There's no questions over West Ham in possession and the way they're playing football. They're playing well. The Chelsea defence are defending really well, I have to be honest, but they're very clinical up the other end, Chelsea, so that's the big worry for West Ham. That's where they've made the biggest mistake today, is in transition, as Bowen delivers in with a corner and straight into the hands of Robert Sanchez. As Chelsea look to spring again, here comes Palmer. And look, they've got bodies forward. It's 4 against 4 here. Palmer feeds it through. Madueke gets the break. Jackson! Blocked well by the West Ham defenders back there as Emerson tries to hound it out. And it goes out for a West Ham throw. Better defending from West Ham on that occasion. It looked like they were caught out again, but they dealt with that situation and denied Chelsea another opportunity. 30 minutes to go. West Ham 0, Chelsea 3. So check. Down the line it goes. Finds Kudus. Kudus up against Disasi. Kudus goes wide. Tries to take on Disasi and slips as he tried to cross the ball back in. And Chelsea can clear their lines again. Madueke with a flick. Finds Palmer. Just Chelsea playing with a bit of flair now. Cruising in this one. Here's Caicedo, but Wan-Bissaka won it back. Now finds Antonio, who's applying the width down the right. Mikel Antonio now goes for the cross. Gets a deflection. Will win West Ham the corner. They're doing the right things, West Ham. It's just not coming off at the moment for them. Still had more shots in the second half than Chelsea, albeit Chelsea's only shot ended up in the back of the net, so it doesn't matter how many more shots you have. Chelsea were clinical with theirs. And West Ham, all the corners, 5 corners so far in the game. Chelsea without one. And here comes another. Punched away from that delivery from Bowen. Again, West Ham muddling it up at the back, and here comes Palmer. And now through goes Madueke. Chelsea are in on again. Madwicki! Good save by Areola. Look at that again. West Ham are at 6s and 7s every single time that Chelsea break. They just aren't defending on the in transition plays from Chelsea. It's really poor. As Nicholas Jackson won't get his hat-trick, but he'll have another brace against West Ham. That's back-to-back braces against the Hammers for Nicholas Jackson as he's ready to come off the field. Chelsea going to make that double change now. It's going to be João Felix and Christopher Nkunku coming on, so even more attacking threat for Chelsea. Some more fresh legs to enter the fray. And Cole Palmer is going to be the other one, so both Chelsea scorers, I believe. Palmer a bit I don't know whether he was delaying things or not, or he looked genuinely confused that he was coming off. Both Chelsea goal scorers are coming off, so Jackson and Palmer are being replaced by João Felix and Christopher Nkunku. Starting to get team news from those 3 o'clock games this afternoon. Of course, 6 3 o'clockers. As I mentioned, we'll have all the full score lines and all the updates. We'll tell you everything that's happened at all 6 of those 3 o'clockers on our 5:30 stream between Crystal Palace and Manchester United. So you'll not want to miss that one if you want to get all the full roundup details of all 6 3 o'clock results. There's Neto chipped away from the ball, and Soler tries to find it in behind for Antonio, but again, Chelsea have it covered. Cucurella. So it's Tosin back to Cucurella. Now Colwell. Pedro Neto had the ball taken from him, but not fairly, said the referee, and Lucas Paquetá gives away the free kick on Enzo Fernandez that time. Free kick for Chelsea. Yeah, it's a clear foul. No questions about that on Lucas Paquetá there. Didn't get any of the ball. Just completely took out Enzo Fernandez. Chelsea take that free kick then. Here's Tosin. Caicedo back to Tosin. 25 minutes to go. Colwell. The ball played down the left-hand side. Neto looking to break in behind. He's got Nkunku and Felix alongside him, but lays it back for Madwicki, and now the shot from, goodness me, from João Felix goes wide. That was a rocket of an effort, but just off target from Felix that time. Really good play, and he just flicks it up himself, and the shot's just wide of the post. That would have been a wonderful goal if it went in. João Felix rifling one off the outside of the netting there. Just seems like everything West Ham do is just not working at the minute. In both areas of the pitch, you know, up front and at the back, as they've given it away here through Kilman. Madwicki now finds Felix to spin away, but kept alive. Here's Nkunku again. Fernandez now finds it through as the shot comes in from Caicedo, I believe it was. Moises Caicedo in the box. They're all trying to get on the act. I think there might have been a deflection in there, maybe, as Caicedo took that shot. Say it again. Maybe took a slight deflection there. It did. Corner to Chelsea then. So Enzo Fernandez over to take. So corner here. Their first of the game for Chelsea, by the way. West Ham have had 6. Chelsea with their first, with a quarter of the game to go. Fernandez was going to take it, but it will be Neto that will take it on this right-hand side. Neto, left-footed delivery, deep. Had to be palmed away by Areola. And Kudus tried to get it further clear, but Chelsea win it back. Fernandez brings it down on the right-hand side. Finds Neto. Lots of body still in the box for Chelsea. Neto looks to spin past two, but Emerson got on a bit of a muddle and ended up putting it out for a corner. So Neto made a nuisance of himself. Wins his side a corner. Fernandez goes back to Caicedo. Fernandez again. Neto. Tries to get past Soler. Does chip it in into the box. And Souček was there to head it away. Still not cleared as Felix. And there's a foul against a West Ham player in there. So a free kick goes the way of the home side. Aaron Wan-Bissaka was the one that was fouled. So free kick for West Ham in their own box. But again, Chelsea continue to threaten. You feel that, you know, they're just going to add another and another. You know, how clinical they've been, how good they've been in the final third today, Chelsea. It's just been really fascinating to watch how free scoring they've been. You know, they will have scored the joint most goals by the end of this game. If they don't score any more, they will have the joint most goals. 11 goals along with City as Kudus tried to cross, but easily gathered by Sanchez. Chelsea have 11 goals. They will go second in the Premier League table, of course. Just below Manchester City, obviously 2 points behind them, but level on points with Arsenal and Newcastle, albeit those sides still yet to play this weekend, obviously. So Chelsea at the moment in second, but that could very much change by the end of the weekend. Matthew says, would you be covering Southampton and Ipswich? Not live, we won't be covering them live, but all the scores and results from the 3 o'clock games we will have for you in the 5:30 game. So I apologise, we aren't going to be doing the 3 o'clockers, but we will certainly keep you up to date with everything that's going on there later on this afternoon. Here come Chelsea again, though. Here is Neto. Off the left, Neto! Try to get it across. Blocked by Mavropanos. Will be a Chelsea corner. Again, it's just in transition. Chelsea just look absolute. They're obliterating West Ham. There was just no cohesion from West Ham defensively in transition. It's really poor. Time and time and time again. It's something they really need to fix, because if they continue like this, they will be torn apart this season by many's a team. Corner here for Chelsea, left-hand side. Neto and Fernandez were over it again, but I think it's Enzo Fernandez is going to take it. Right-footed delivery by Fernandez. Not fully cleared away as it falls for Madueke, who tried to take a touch and shoot, but wasn't given that time. And West Ham cleared away and now wanted to come on the counter themselves, as Cucurella absolutely upends the West Ham player there in Mohamed Kudus. And Marc Cucurella gets a yellow card for his troubles. And Kudus is in a lot of pain at the minute. Cucurella had no intention of playing the ball whatsoever. It was a very, very cynical challenge. Completely upends his opponent. It's none of the ball. It is a foul, no question, and a yellow card is certainly for Marc Cucurella. No doubt about that one. West Ham are reading another 2 changes, I feel. They are at this minute, so they've already made, obviously, 3 substitutions, and they're going to make their final 2 in a minute. Here we are. They're going to make those now then. So it's going to be Andy Irving and Aaron Cresswell that are going to be coming on. And Emerson and Lucas Paqueta are going to be the changes. So they're coming off. And Irving and Cresswell are coming on for West Ham. So West Ham made that double substitution. Interesting to see. Irving is making his debut, of course, the 24-year-old Scotsman, Andy Irving. His first appearance for the club as that shot from distance pinged right at Robert Sanchez from Irving himself. Very good effort, but he joined last summer, did Irving, for £1.5 million. Went on loan to Austria Klagenfurt last season before rejoining, of course, after his loan spell in the summer of this campaign. So, making his debut this afternoon as West Ham come forward, and Bowen and Antonio tried to link up there, but Antonio's flick easily gathered by Robert Sanchez there. But today they haven't been at the level, West Ham, really. We know they haven't. In the final third they've been poor. That's lovely from Disasi. Little spins and flicks and step overs here, there and everywhere, and that's beautiful from Chelsea again as Felix plays it over the top. Here's Madueke, cuts it across, and West Ham had 2 touches on that as it goes behind for a corner. I think it was Kilman and Mavropanos that both got a touch to that ball as it came across. Yeah, they both tried to flick it out, and they ultimately did flick it out for a corner. But it's really good combination play again from Chelsea. Disasi played it to Felix. Felix spotted the run of Madueke in behind. Again, West Ham's defending woeful. No defensive line, no back line, no cohesion, no offside trap. Just flicks it over the top, and Madueke's well onside. And they almost get a goal-scoring chance out of it. Here's Neto from the corner. Caicedo to deliver. Headed away by Mavropanos. Back it comes through Neto. To take on Cresswell, and does so. Wins that challenge initially as Soler tries to get back, but West Ham can't retrieve the possession as Caicedo across, and Kunku denied by a big save by Alphonse Areola. Chelsea are getting closer again to adding another. Here's Neto and Kunku. Felix. Really fast, intricate football from Chelsea. Felix on the right. Back to Caicedo. It's really crisp and sharp and wonderful to watch. And you compare that to Chelsea kind of last season. They struggled at times, albeit there are a lot of positives at times from Chelsea last season, but we're already seeing a really good kind of style of play from Enzo Maresca's side. And, you know, I've called them inconsistent, I've called them kind of a basket case at times, because they have been a bit all over the place, Chelsea. But today, everything seems to have clicked, and it's worked perfectly for them. I think their game plan has worked to an absolute T. The way they've played, all of their players, whether it be the starting 11 or the substitutes, have all come on and put in a very good performance. I think every player on the field for Chelsea, to a man, has been kind of stellar today. Kind of really unstoppable at times, and Enzo Fernandez has just won a free kick here, and I think the West Ham fans have seen enough. Around just less than 15 minutes to go, they're starting to leave the stadium. 3-0 down, albeit I will harp back to it as many times as I wish, because I've mentioned it quite a number of times in commentaries before about West Ham being down at home. I always remember that game where they were 3-0 down against Tottenham, and in the last 10 minutes they get back to 3-3, albeit it's probably a once in a generation, once in a lifetime kind of game, but how rare it is. It's happened before. Means it's not impossible. Max Kilman has just got another yellow card for West Ham for a foul there, so certainly adds up the total for West Ham. It's their third yellow card of the afternoon. Here's Madueke up against Cresswell. Cresswell did well defending that one, but the last touch did come off the West Ham defender, so free kick to, or throw in, sorry, to Chelsea. In the Championship, by the way, I haven't updated you in the Championship games in a while. Norwich leading Watford by 3-1. QPR and Millwall is 1-1. And Sunderland leading Middlesbrough by 1-0. All 12:30 kickoffs, so they will be coming to an end around about the same time as us here at the London Stadium. So corner here for Chelsea. Right hand side, Neto and Fernandez over it again. Certainly racked up the corners in the last 10 minutes, Chelsea. Neto to get it to the back post. Disasi was the target. Manwecki's up there too, but hoofed away back there by Konstantinos Mavropanos for West Ham. Just over 10 minutes to go. What would the West Ham fans be thinking at this point? I just see shots of glum faces, glaring looks, just longing for something. A new start, a new regime, a new era at West Ham, but they haven't even picked up a point at home and start the season unbeaten away from home. But, you know, you want to win your home games, you want to impress your crowd at your home games, and to be honest, to say that they've been anywhere near impressive would be a complete lie. They haven't been today, West Ham. They've played decent moments, but it was that lack of cohesion, that lack of kind of link up all afternoon from a West Ham team that, you know, we're expecting a lot of this season with the big signings this summer, the new manager, the new regime. You know, all the excuses are gone. Excuses of old of we don't have the right players, we don't have the quality of players, we don't have the system right, we don't have the right manager, we don't have the right kind of style of play. Everything that is set up at this minute is what West Ham want, but it's not working after 5 games. And already, look, I'm not going to say that managers need sacked and all that, because that's ridiculous at this stage of the season, but they certainly need to show more, West Ham, against teams where they want to be competing with. They've got the quality to compete, but we've just not seen anywhere near enough of it today. That's been their problem. And defensively, they've been shocking. In transition, they have been woeful, to be honest. Here's Jared Bowen. Lays it down the right-hand side. Wan-Bissaka with a cross. Sanchez palmed it away. And I think West Ham it just sums up their afternoon, really. Sanchez palms it away, and there was not a single player in and around the edge of the box to threaten. As Cresswell keeps it alive, the cross is gone all the way through. Souček and Bowen were threatening, but neither could reach it from Cresswell's cross. A really good cross, but couldn't find either of his teammates there, and they were both offside anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. But again, that just sums up West Ham's day. You know, they whip a cross in from Wan-Bissaka, the keeper palms it away, and then they all leave it for each other. No link up, no communication, no cohesion. It just goes to show that speaking and communicating and knowing, kind of being a step ahead of your opponent, is so important in Premier League football, because it could be the difference between winning a game and completely falling apart in a game, and that's been the difference today for West Ham. And I said it multiple times this afternoon, that midfield looked like it had never played with each other before. It looked like they never met each other at times, and that's not what you need in a side. Here's Kudus. Individual quality, though, they still have, West Ham, as Kudus tried to cut it back and give it straight back to Chelsea. 8 minutes to go of the game here at the London Stadium. And Chelsea, most deservedly, going to be winning this one, and they'll be hoping to hold on to for a clean sheet now. They only have 1 clean sheet to start the season. Chelsea in their first 4 games. Lost 2-0 to Man City in game 1. But unbeaten in the league since then, of course. 6-2 win away at Wolves. in the 1-1 draw at home to Crystal Palace before the 1-0 win away at Bournemouth, which Nkunku scored the winner, of course, last Saturday night. But that was their only clean sheet of the season so far. So back-to-back clean sheets, back-to-back wins away from home would certainly breed a lot of confidence in the Chelsea side, and will certainly give them that positive spell that they probably need at this minute in time. As Kieran Dewsbury-Hall is going to be coming on here for Chelsea in a moment. Just to remind you what's coming up, of course, Crystal Palace against Manchester United in the Premier League later this afternoon, 5:30 kickoff from Sellers Park. Tomorrow we've Brighton, Nottingham Forest, and then Man City, Arsenal. Also tomorrow in a double header. Then during midweek, Tuesday and Wednesday night, we'll have Carabao Cup action. We'll see West Ham in action away at Anfield. On Wednesday night, Aston Villa in action as well on Tuesday night. And then on Thursday, the return of the Europa League as Tottenham host Karabag at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So lots of football to bring you over the next few days here from various competitions here in LFS. So if you haven't done so already, do hit that like button, do press subscribe, and do hit that notification bell as well to keep notified on when we go live on the channel. It's greatly appreciated, and we thank everybody for joining us this afternoon here in LFS. Ball flicked forward. West Ham again. Kudus. Picking up with Cresswell, back to Kudus. I think Chelsea have just stepped off a bit. They're just happy to manage this game and see it out now. Run down the clock as much as possible. Cresswell. Soler. Back to Mavropanos. Well, what's next for these two then? Because it'll be certainly a day to forget and a day to learn from a West Ham point of view. Learn kind of what went wrong and figure out how to fix it. As Antonio gets into the box. Right, Wan-Bissaka may be offside here. Wan-Bissaka. Flag stays down for the moment as it's still alive in the box, but the flag does go up eventually. Not that it matters, because Chelsea have the ball, so they play on. As I was saying, what's next for these two? Because, you know, West Ham losing this one, what do they want? Do they want to keep playing through this form at the moment and figure it out on the field? Or do they need more training time? Do they need time to work together off kind of out of games and in training and figure out the system and figure out that? Well, they'll not have much time to do that. They're back in action on Wednesday night, as I mentioned. They head to Anfield to face Liverpool in the third round of the Carabao Cup. Liverpool, who beat them in the quarter-finals last season, 5-1 at Anfield last season. And then they have another London derby, West Ham, but away from home next Saturday at 3 o'clock as they head to Brentford next Saturday afternoon. For Chelsea, they also are in Carabao Cup action in midweek. They're on Tuesday night. They're at home to Barrow of League Two, which is a big test for Barrow. It's a big night for Barrow, the League Two club coming against Premier League opposition in Chelsea. And then Chelsea have a tough game themselves next Saturday at 3 o'clock as they host Brighton at Stamford Bridge. So that's what's to come next week for these two. Well, Chelsea's last win at the London Stadium was back in April 2021. They haven't won in their last 3 visits here. But this seems to be a change of the tide again. It was a 1-0 win back in April 2021. And Timo Werner scored the winner on that day against 10-man Chelsea. Or 10-man West Ham, sorry. Chelsea haven't won by more than a 1-goal margin here since a 3-0 win back in November 2013. When Frank Lampard scored 2 of Chelsea's goals on that day. So it's a significant moment where Chelsea have won here by such a distance, because it has been such a rarity in recent years that they do not only win here, considering they've only won twice in the last 8 meetings at the London Stadium, and both only by 1 goal. So it's a rarity for these Chelsea fans to come to the London Stadium and get a happy day, but also a comfortable day at the London Stadium. It's as rare as it can be for Chelsea fans. 11 years since they last tasted comfortable victory here against West Ham, albeit they wouldn't have been at the London Stadium back then. Would have been back at Upton Park back in 2013. Here's Soler. That shows you how long ago it was. They were back at Upton Park at that point. Were West Ham. 2 minutes to go with the 90 then. Still 3-0 to Chelsea. And West Ham, we talked about where Chelsea would be in the table. You can see on the graphic there on the right hand side of your screen where West Ham would be 14th. 4 points from their first 5 games. 5 goals scored, 9 conceded. And would only... they would be the worst of the teams that have won a game. All 6 teams below West Ham are yet to win a game of football this season in the Premier League. Leicester, Crystal Palace, Ipswich, Wolves, Southampton and Everton, of course. But a couple of chances today where some of those could change. Of course, Leicester play Everton, so that's a battle for a first win. Southampton, Ipswich, that's a battle for a first win as well. So there could change today. By the end of the evening, they could have some first winners of the season on match day 5. We'll see. Just a minute to go then. And it's certainly the Chelsea fans that still are here in their numbers and singing in their numbers in that away end at the London Stadium. A day where their side have been much the better team. There's no question, no doubt, no arguing that fact at all. But, you know, is it something where you think it's worrying for West Ham, or is it just they've just been beaten in transition today and they've been torn to bits by a very good and very clinical Chelsea side, because they haven't been at their level today, West Ham. As I said, in transition their defending's been terrible, but also up front they've lacked that clinical edge, they've lacked that real intensity in the final third, and I think they need to be more composed, because Chelsea have been exactly that today. Nicholas Jackson, 2 very good goals. The brace, earning him player of the match, of course, and then Cole Palmer getting the third just at the start of the second half. And that's when you knew, when Cole Palmer scored, you knew that the game was done and dusted then, because at 3-0, you're trying to claw back from a real kind of... it's a mission to get back anywhere in the game, and I think something that West Ham had struggled all the way through the second half. And Chelsea just looked like to be adding even more rather than conceding. 4 added minutes at the end of the half then. Or at the end of the game, shall I say. And stats-wise, the second half's been more even between the two sides, but overall, West Ham have had more possession, more shots, more corners, but have created no big chances. Their XG is below 1. Their goalkeepers made 2 saves today. You know, Chelsea have created 5 big chances, over 2.24 XG. With less corners, with less shots, but more accurate, much more threatening, much more clinical, much more kind of what should we say, kind of devastating is the right word, really. They have been in that final third, and here they come again. Although they're not in a hurry to add another. Although here's Dewsbury Hall down the left. Back it comes, though. Under no real hurry. Here Chelsea to get the ball moving quickly. Colwill, Cucurella just overstepped it, but did well to keep the ball. Okay, Sado just hits it straight at the referee, but I think Cucurella is going to get a free kick here. The referee just pulled this back, and Carlos Soler is going to get his name added into the book. A number of West Ham players now booked in this game. 5 now, that is. Carlos Soler is the 5th, all in the second half. So about 90 seconds to go, and certainly a positive, massively positive day for Enzo Maresca, because, you know, when Chelsea made that appointment in the summer, it was a lot of kind of, you know, who, why, what? Albeit did very well to get Leicester to win the championship and get promoted and all that, but a different task taking a hold of a big club like Chelsea in the Premier League. Expectations of finishing in the top half, in the top kind of 6 at the very least for Chelsea is their expectations. So it's a very different task, but so far he's battled with that well, and I think if you're only lost after 5 games is to a Manchester City side on the opening day, I think that's a positive start for you. As here come Chelsea now. They've got 5 on 3. Here's Neto. Tried to go for the cross. Blocked. Neto cuts it back for Dewsbury Hall. Now finds João Felix, who hits it just wide. Similar to his first effort around about 20 minutes ago from João Felix. Just wide of that left post. Sets it up and just tries to find the bottom corner. Just hits it wide. But again, 5 on 3 for West Ham's point of view, and it's something they need to get a grip of, and fast. As the referee blows the full-time whistle and calls to an end the game, where Chelsea were the better side overall. Massively clinical. Nicholas Jackson and Cole Palmer the scorers on the day. Jackson back-to-back braces against the Hammers, a West Ham side that were below par from start to finish. From the very first minute of the game, they were caught out in transition by Chelsea. Nicholas Jackson put them ahead. He doubled their lead before Cole Palmer at the start of the second half, inside 75 seconds, added a third. A very good day for Chelsea, but they could have probably had more on the day. Their unbeaten start away from home continues. A 100% record on the road. 3 wins out of 3 in visiting stadiums, and Enzo Maresca certainly has his side finding the net, and it seems to be they're shoring up the back after back-to-back clean sheets on the road. Final score from the London Stadium: West Ham United 0, Chelsea 3. There we are. That is the end of our first game in the new Premier League weekend, up and running then. 6 3 o'clock games this afternoon. We'll give you all the full-time scores from all of those at 5:30 this afternoon, when you can join us for Crystal Palace taking on Manchester United. For now, thanks for your company, because the Chelsea Blues are leaving West Ham lacking. We'll see you at 5:30.